Hey guys, what's going on? So today I'm going to be showing you how you can make millions of coins in Elder Scrolls Online really easily, and it's one of the methods that I personally use. So what we're going to be looking at today is something called price locking, okay? So if you play FIFA or anything, you probably know about this method, you've probably seen people do this. Long story short, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be buying all of an item, and we're going to be basically able to choose the price that we then sell that item for, because we own every single one of it. Now that might sound hard, but I'm going to explain to you how it isn't actually that hard and how there are probably actually hundreds of items you can do this with in the game. So essentially the first thing you need to do in order to do this method is you have to find a suitable item. Now a suitable item needs to be rare, it needs to be desirable, and it also needs to be something you can afford to buy most if not all of, okay? So even if you can't afford to buy all of them, as long as you can afford to buy a good amount of them, or as long as you're happy with the price that you're going to buy up to, that's perfectly fine. So for example, if there's 5 items listed between 100 and 150,000, and then the next item listed isn't until 300,000 coins, if you buy all of the items up to 150,000, you can then go and list all of the items again for 300,000, and they're then the cheapest on the market, and you're going to make all that profit. So you're going to make at least 150k on each one, if not more. And that's essentially price locking. So the only caveat is if someone happens to list one of these items for a little bit lower, in order to keep the price that you want, the 300,000, if they list it for 250, you then need to go and buy that one for 250 and relist for 300, just to keep your price locked. So that is the only caveat there, and that's why it's pretty much imperative that you do this with a rare item, something that's hard to get. So this would never work with tempered alloys or chromium plates, anything like that. Even if you could buy all of them like for one day, you would never be able to sustain the method, because people do the rates, people just, you know, refine stuff every day. These items flood into the game really easily. There's no way to price lock those. But for example, if we're looking at a luxury furnishing item or a monster style page, there's a very finite amount of these. People can't just pick these out of the air. They can't just go farm these. These are no longer available once they've gone. So it becomes really, really rare, and very, very rarely will someone actually have the item to sell. And then also very, very rarely will they choose to sell it dramatically lower than your items are listed. So for example, if you happen to see someone lists one of the items for 280,000 coins and yours are 300,000, and there's only one of them, realistically you don't have to do much. What you can do is just let that one sell, and that's perfectly fine by you, as long as it's not crashing the entire market. As long as it's only 1 or 2, you can just let them sell naturally and you don't have to invest any more money. And that's actually one of the smarter ways to go about it, to be honest. So what I'm going to do now is give you a specific example of how you could do this, and give you a couple of different items that you could try this with. So for the purpose of this video, essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the luxury furniture as the means of getting a rare item that no one can get anymore. It's also going to be a desired item, because, you know, it's something that I know to be desired in the game and I'm confident in. So what I've done about a week or two ago is I went and bought 70 of the Dark Brotherhood stained glass windows. Now this is a really popular furnishing. I knew that going in. These were worth around 100,000 coins each from the vendor at the time. While we're looking around Mournhold, without me doing anything here, essentially we can now see that the lowest in the market is 150,000 coins. So essentially in only a few weeks I've been able to make a 50% profit. So essentially I bought 70, so I spent 7 million. So I've then made 3.5 million profit from doing nothing but waiting. So that was just all natural profit. That wasn't price locking. That was just me investing in an item and the price going up. And if that's where you want to leave it, I have actually got a video on my channel about investing. You can look at that after this one. I'll link it in the description. So if we happen to look around Mournhold, which is our main trading city, okay, if I were to add up the price of every single one of these stained glass windows that are on the market that aren't mine, we'd be able to see that I only need to spend 1.5 million additional from the 3.5 million coins I've already made. And then I would own every single one, and I could choose the price for that item as nobody else would own one. Obviously 1 or 2 may get listed, or there may be 1 or 2 in a couple of different guild traders. On Xbox, generally everything goes in Mournhold, so if Mournhold has none and you're in a Mournhold guild, yours will pretty much sell, because people don't generally like to go shopping around, and also most people know to sell rare items like this in a Mournhold guild. So essentially, if I spend 1.5 million of my 3.5 million profits from the investment, I would still make 2 million coins no matter what happened essentially. But at this point I'll be able to choose the price of the item. So I can now list these stained glass windows at say 300k each. And if I do that, if any furnisher wants to have this window at any point, they essentially need to pay 300,000 coins. If they don't see it any cheaper, they will likely just buy it. And the good thing about using furnishings is anyone who's a furnisher tends to be rich. I don't know why, but anyone who does furnishing has a lot of gold. You have to have a lot of gold to be a furnisher. So they're not too picky about buying the things that they want. They just kind of go for it. This is why in the first couple of days of a new DLC coming out, you can sell your furnishing plans for millions and millions of coins, because these furnishers just buy them and they don't care and they have a lot of gold. So this is why it's really good also to target them while you're price locking. So if I'm then selling those for 300k each, I'm going to make around 14 million coins profit now instead of the 3.5 million I was originally going to make from the investment. And I'm also going to profit another few million coins from all of the items that I buy that keep getting listed and from the items that I bought in order to do this price lock. So essentially I'll make probably another 1.5 million at least from the items I bought to start the price lock. And from there, again, if something goes up for 250 and I'm selling for 300, I'm still making a small profit, but that's just more about holding the price lock for the big bulk of items I already have to secure the 14 million coin profit. So hopefully you guys understand how that has worked. So I'm going to go over an example of something else you can do it with, just so you know it's not just furnishings. So something else you can do this with, and it's actually really good to do it with, is the monster helmets, or for example the opal weapon styles, or the, you know, just the general like monster weapons that are going to come out in this Undaunted event coming up. So if you look at like the Engine Guardian staff, you know, this is like 1 million coins plus each one of these, but there was a time on console where these were worth like maybe 50k, 100k whenever they came out originally, just because they were not rare at the time. There was hundreds of them in the event. People bought them, people just used them, like nobody cared. But as times went on, they've become really rare. And essentially the only reason it takes time for things to become rare is because it takes time for all of them to sell. So again, if you're in the price locking mindset, if you buy them all the day after the event ends, they're price locked, you choose the price. If someone wants that, they then pay the price you've selected. So if you have a big cash stack, or you have the foresight to buy an item when it's kind of cheap, like a mask or a shoulder piece when it's in the vendor, you can then hold on to that, buy all the rest of them over a little period of time, and then massively bump the price up and price lock it for yourself. So that was an example of when I have done it with the Dark Brotherhood windows. And I've also actually done this in the past, probably like a year or two ago, with the Moloch kind of shoulder pieces. So I bought maybe 50 of these for between 50 and 100k whenever they came out. I then was just slowly buying over time, just ones that are off for like 150, 200k, just they were very rarely coming on the market, but I was just buying those up until there was none left. It got to a point where I didn't see any for at least 2 months on the market whatsoever for any price. And that's when I knew I had them all. And then essentially what I've done now is I can charge about 1.5 million for these, or 1 million coins if I want them gone fast for any sort of money. But essentially I'm making at least 10, 20 times my money from those Moloch kind of shoulders now, just from simply doing this method. Okay, so it does work, it is really good. You do need a little bit of money to start this method, but you can choose a cheaper rare item, okay, and it will still kind of work. You just might not make as much money, for example. But yeah, again, if you can get a couple of friends together, it doesn't have to be just you price locking it. You can grab maybe like 3-4 friends and say, okay, let's put all our money together, let's buy all of this like opal axe or whatever, and let's price lock that item, and then you all profit, okay? So again, like a rising tide raises all ships, so there's no point in just being rich by yourself. If you can get rich and make your friends rich, just do that as well. You know, it's no fun having all the money. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.